Hey family, it's me again, Tavang at God's Heart Mission. Welcome to today's teaching. I do have a quick word that I'd like to share. Um, yeah, I like to share. Please take back the word to the Lord. Find out if it's for you in this season. Take me back to the Lord as well. Do your due diligence, right? But this word, thank you for your love, support, prayers, family. Thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it. This word is it's a it's a warning, but it's also just the Lord letting us know, what He's doing in this season. So I'm going to give you a bit of a story. It won't be long, but this is what led to what the God of Glory has been speaking. Now He's actually rolling it out. He's actually rolling it out in real time, like many other things that He's doing in the season. His hand of justice is still very heavy on the earth. So heavy that as you are committing an act of wickedness, the God of Glory is already rolling out his justice on you. As you are committing that act of wickedness, the God of glory is already imposing justice through the appropriate action or ramifications pertaining to whatever it is that wickedness is. So, recently, and it's gonna cost you. That's another thing the God of glory is saying that I should mention that this particular act, which is essentially lying, the God of glory has been speaking about false accusations, but now he's speaking about lying tongues. Lying, for some, is going to cost them opportunities, access to places and spaces, things, relationships, all sorts of things, but it's going to come at a cost if you persist in lying, right? So the God of glory is speaking to whoever it is and also to us as his children to be like, he hates lying. I hate lying lives, thus says the Lord. He hates lying. And nobody's getting away with lies. Okay, especially in this season. It's not like they got away with it back then because God doesn't change. He hated lies then, he still hates lies today. But what the God of glory was highlighting was lies specifically because the God of this world is the father of lies. It's this God with a small g, and there's no truth in him, right? So obviously that is the spirit that is operating when lies have been spread, right? When lies have been spoken. And God is handling that. So from this instance, I'm going to share with you guys, as the person was lying, actively lying to another individual, the Lord was simultaneously exposing the truth. Do you hear what I'm saying? So let me give you the rundown of what actually transpired. So this lady walked into one of our offices, right? So she goes in, then she speaks to the interim manager because the other manager was is not at the office at that point, but this manager individual was meeting this person, okay? And this individual, because I guess in their minds they thought that the person didn't know their story or who they are and stuff like that, right? But this particular lady, the lady who walked into the office, had been looking for work over there. In fact, she was invited to a position that was created specifically for her for work. And she'd been doing her thing. I don't know if she wasn't ready at the time to take up the offer, or I don't know what her story was, but it seemed like from the management, she was always having an excuse as to why she cannot take up the offer. So the grace period ran out where the executives decided that, sorry, we don't want you anymore, so they closed the door. Recently, she comes rocking up at the office and she speaks to this manager whom she doesn't know whether or not he's got the story, about her specifically, and starts saying everything, that is opposed to what the events that were happening that led to her eventually having that door closed, and she was responsible for that door closing. So she begins to lie on the executive managers who were kind of like recruiting her for the position and many other things. So would you believe me when I tell you that as she's speaking all these things, shifting the blame, denying everything, trying to paint everybody as bad, she even went on to say that she never knew that there was a position that existed, that she had been pre-selected for the position, that she was invited to take up this offer. That's what she said. This manager decides to call somebody who was also very much involved during that time when she was being recruited. And this person says, they said this record straight. The lady says, no, this is what actually happened. And now everything starts coming together. This particular manager stepped out of the office to go to the back side of the office and call this individual to be like, I need to verify something. I've got so and so here. And she's saying that she never knew about this position. She was not invited to the table. The executive committee, so to speak, never made a mention of it. And then the other person on the other phone began to set this record straight, pulling all the evidence. Like, okay, well, I remember this time and I remember that time because they were also involved during that time, but in the background. I remember she was, called on the specific day to take up that specific assignment, to be part of it. She was even supposed to go undergo training, right? To be equipped in order to do the job, etc., etc. So now this man is like, huh? What do you mean? Like, yeah, exactly. So they go back in and tell the person that, well, I cannot help you. You can't say now you're looking for a job because now the light is being shed on the situation. And her lies had her lose any opportunity she could ever have to work for that company. This is all happening in one day where this person lost her opportunity for work and now they need work. But don't you know the Lord will close that door on you because you're out here lying? Don't you know the Lord will close that door on you because you're out there trying to shift the blame, accuse people who are innocent about things they know nothing of? Because God was right there during that conversation when that person was being recruited by this particular company. I want to touch on a couple of verses that speak to how God hates lies. God hates lies, family. It's listed on Proverbs 6 from 16 through 19. It says there are six things the Lord hates, seven that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who purrs out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. And in the season, the God of glory is speaking, according to the book of Luke 8:17. He says, for there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known and brought out in the open. Then another verse says that from Hebrew 4:13 says, nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of him to whom we have to give account. And Colossians 3:9 discourages us from moving around lying to one another. It says, do not lie to each other, since you've taken off your old self with its practices. And here in Psalm 5, verse 6, the God of glory says, King David says about God, you destroy those who tell lies, bloodthirsty and deceitful men, the Lord abhors. That is to hate, to despise. An opportunity for her to get a job, which she desperately needs, was literally blocked by her lying. Because the manager, funny enough, was calling the other individual to be like, speak to the executive manager on behalf of this lady to say that she's really interested in that offer. She would really like to take up that offer. So they were coming from a place of speaking favorably about her, trying to, like be saying, hey, that's the good candidate for the job. They didn't know that the person they were speaking to, trying to direct to speak to the executive management, knew everything about the situation. Don't you know the Lord will expose? So, yeah, that was a good way of saying. Truth is what's going to open doors for you. Truth is what's going to let you be seated in high places. Truth is what's going to rescue, save you, and preserve you. Not lies. God is exposing lies as they are happening, as the conversations are happening. The Lord is revealing lies in real time. Like he's not even playing. He's not even playing. God is revealing lies and liars. And people are going to lose a lot of things. Doors are going to be shut in their faces. because of them lying. Not being lied on, them physically lying. Lying on other people, lying about the situation, not owning up to any truth about their part as to what their part in whatever it is that led to the situation being the way that it was. I leave you there, family. I love you. Thank you so much for being a part of the teaching. I pray that the God of glory ministers to whomever this word is for. And yeah, so don't be surprised because the way the Lord is moving, God is not playing. And those people will then became literally justified right there and then from just that conversation. The record was set straight, the truth was exposed, it was laid bare, the evidence was there, and the people whom this lady was trying to implicate and say things about which they had no part in got their justice. The false accusations didn't even stick for 2 minutes. As she was putting false accusations, the Lord yanked them back and still had her lose out on an opportunity that she desperately needs. So God is not playing. God is not playing, fam. Like it's not even joking. This is not like the Lord is not playing. So walk in truth. You have the spirit of truth in you. Speak the truth, no matter how hard, even if you're in the wrong. Just speak the truth. I bet you, had she just spoken the truth and admitted to her wrongdoing in the situation, she would have gotten the job. Because the interim manager really, really was like, she's the right candidate for the job. But now the company is thinking you're already lying to get the job. What's going to happen once you get employed? Operating with that spirit. Operating with that spirit. Had she just spoken the truth, I bet you she would have been hired. Regardless of the mess up beforehand, I bet you she would have been hired. So she failed the test. It was her opportunity to speak the truth about the situation, own up to her part about the situation, because the company washed their hands off the situation and said, well, we cannot force you to take up an offer that you don't want, in a position that you don't want. Clearly, the way you're moving is letting us know you're not interested. So they looked elsewhere. Now, when she's ready, she's going to walk through the door spewing lies about the very people who were recruiting her. And right there, the Lord said no. Right there, the Lord exposed. Right there, the Lord justified. Right there, the Lord corrected. Right there, the Lord rebuked. Right there, through one conversation, just one phone call. That's done. Done. All right. So, with that being said, family, I love you. I'll be back as and when the Spirit of God releases me. Remain blessed and again continue to pray unto the Lord always and rejoice in His presence always. In Jesus' name, remain blessed.